So recently, something amazing has happened. Creative Assembly not only announced that Warhammer 3 Total War was not only in development, but they also announced that they were remastering one of their classic titles, which I'm sure you're aware of by now, and if you're not, then you've definitely seen the title of this video, so you know my next words. Rome Total War Remastered, or as the branding goes, Total War Rome Remastered. So the original Rome Total War, the original game from 2004, is a truly wonderful game, but it isn't perfect. So with this remaster, you know I'm going to party like it's 270 BC, so just a few years before the First Punic War. Actually, I think 2004 will do just fine. There are several issues with it, which I will mention real quick and then comment on whether or not the remaster fixes it. The original Total War as it exists on Steam is beyond broken. The Steam version received a 1.51 patch which pretty much broke the game. Up until the remaster, Creative Assembly didn't really address the game, so if you own the original game on Steam, I'll post a link to a Google Drive folder with a patch. As the DVD-ROM version of the game, the physical disc that shipped to retail is still at 1.5, so if you have the disc, use that. You might have to fetch it out from wherever you've got it hidden somewhere. If not, use the 1.5 retail version from that drive link in place of the Steam version, allowing you to load from Steam but have the game work properly. Yeah, for some reason the Steam version is plagued with performance issues and stuttering, the frame rate drops to colossal lows and makes the game damn near unplayable. So Rome Remastered aims to make the game playable on modern systems, allegedly using the same engine the original was made with, so chances are the AI aren't going to be much better and most units will behave as they did, spies, merchants, units, etc. They all look a bit better with the graphics overhaul though. This remaster improves upon the original by more than doubling the amount of playable factions from 16 to a whopping 38. The thing is that some of these factions were meant to be AI controlled and I'm not sure how well balanced they are. You can unlock all the factions from the launcher. Ranged units now have cones, which is much nicer than the way the original did it. You can also zoom in and out using the tactical map. It adds in heat maps and better UI elements for things like the campaign map, diplomacy and security. The remaster adds cross-platform multiplayer, as the game is also going to be released on Mac. It features improved in-game help, better resolution support and better frame rate. The remaster is currently priced at $29.99 or £24.99. However, if you own the original Total War on Steam, you get 50% off for a limited time, so it'll only cost £12.49. Amazing. The game also has free DLC with improved textures for those that want it. Which is an excellent segue for me to talk about the actual DLC of Rome Total War. The game comes with Alexander and Barbarian Invasion, all in one price for the remaster, which is brilliant. They've also added in Night Battles, which was a feature from Barbarian Invasion, into the base game. The most shocking thing is how the game has gone from 2.9GB in the 2004 version to 45GB in the remaster. The graphics sure are better than they were, but that can't be all the space that's being used for, right? They've redone every single texture in the game, they've redone battle textures, the campaign map, units now have dynamic lighting as opposed to just painted on sun reflections. I mean, a fair amount of the increase in size could be the DLC they've lumped in with the base game, but sure, it's still a big jump. One cool thing is units now have a level of uniqueness to them, where every soldier will look like their own self-contained person, individual from the rest of their unit. By this, I mean they'll have their own unique hair and facial hair. There's several thousand combos allegedly, so you won't see two soldiers that look alike. Also, a really cool feature is that if you are to recruit a unit of say Hastati in Rome, they will be all or mostly white. But if you march them halfway across the Middle East to fight the Egyptians for example, and then you retrain them in a captured city, the units will begin to resemble soldiers of Middle Eastern descent, so they'll have darker skin complexion and darker hair for example. It's not a huge thing, but it is kinda cool. Obviously with the remaster comes the more modern control system using WASD to move the camera, some easy to remember hotkeys, making commanding in a battle so much easier. The original controls gave me a bit of a headache trying to control and set up my troops in a decent battle formation. However, I do still instinctively press Ctrl C to click my cavalry rather than F7. One big thing this remaster has done is it has completely done away with the limits on the units, factions, settlements the engine can handle, making it much easier for custom mods. You'll be able to mod in entire factions if you so choose to. This is a very high effort remaster though. All the changes are sensible, respectful, and most importantly, optional. If there is a feature that has been changed, you are able to set it between the remaster and the original easily. The only things that it won't do for you is revert the UI to the original game's one, and why would you want to? The original UI was so clunky and big. The new one is very minimal and easily collapsible, so you can still keep an eye on things while reading important notifications. That and the graphics in general, the new graphics are here to stay, and I for one am all for it. It's evident that this Rome remaster is a labour of love, and I do hope that Creative Assembly take note of this and maybe give us a Medieval 2 remaster with the same kind of treatment. Who knows, this could all just be practice for the next big historical Total War. This could be the way CA plans to hook, line and sinker to Total War old fans that may have been slightly pushed away by the focus on Warhammer Total War games, and some of the later historical Total Wars like Troy and Rome 2. Ugh, god, don't make me gag. But who knows, the next big announcement from Creative Assembly could very well be a remaster of Med 2, or the far less likely, but still possible, Medieval 3 Total War. If they were to just casually drop that, the Total War community would implode. The one thing I am kinda bummed about them not adding was co-op campaigns. I know it wasn't in the original Rome, and that's fair enough, but by god how awesome would it be to conquer Rome again with a friend or family member. I'd love to do a co-op campaign with my dad who got me into Total War in the first place. The sort of student has become the master type scenario where I show him how to kick some Macedonian ass. If you're gonna give Med 2 the same treatment, give us co-op campaigns, please, Creative Assembly. I almost always pick the Brutii, and so I have a very strong hatred towards the Greek cities, Macedonians and Thracians. They are thorns in my side in every playthrough. In Rome Classic anyway. Let's see how bad they make me want to pull my hair out in Remastered. Actually, not too badly. The AI seems to have a bit more logic behind its decisions, where I was easily able to enter an alliance with Macedon, wipe out Greece and keep Thrace at bay by declining their alliance but offering them gold as a gift. I finished off Greece, and I think Macedon only has one settlement left somewhere up north now. I'm frantically trying to gather the map information to work it out and remove them from the history books, as they did actually attack me. And I would like to do this before they take more cities and become a big thorn in my side once more later on. I do however recommend, if you are able, to put the game onto an SSD. Load times can be a little bit spotty. I can confirm the Greeks in Remastered are just as annoying in the base game. The Macedonians in my current playthrough are being intolerable, and Pontus just constantly wants an alliance, which doesn't work for me because they're at war with Macedon, who I am allied to in this playthrough. That went south quickly, by the way. The thing with Rome Remasters is that it is just that, a remaster. It changes one or two small things, fixes a few more, but under its shiny coat of paint it's just the same old Rome. I heard a quote from somebody that works well. Expecting a remaster to add new things is like buying the Blu-ray of a film and getting mad that it's the same as the DVD release and not a different plot to the DVD release. The original Rome released very positive reviews, with the game's Metacritic score being at a firm 92, 9.0 user score, with PC Gamer rating it the 5th in the all-time best PC games, as well as receiving 4 Editor's Choice Awards from various game journalism organisations. While it lost out to Warhammer 40k Dawn of War for the best strategy game title, real-time, from Computer Gaming World, it did rightfully receive GameSpot's year-end Best Graphics Technical Award. The response to the remaster, however, has been mixed, and this stems from there being two groups in the Total War community, almost like an actual Rome in its downfall. On one side you have the Imperial crowd, the crowd that just liked the old ways of Total War Rome, and just wanted it to be what it once was again, just prettier. The other group, the Republic, wanted to see something totally new, changing up the formula on the entire thing. Please forgive me for this word salad of an analogy that I'm about to bestow upon you, about the split of the Roman Empire as a comparison to the split in the opinion of the fans in Rome Total War. In my head writing this I thought it was appropriate and kinda smart. It kinda convolutes the whole point, but I wanted to flex my historical knowledge and I have to do it somewhere. Obviously I fell more into the Imperial side, or nostalgia gang of the argument. The Republicans however did Caesar dirty. Ave Caesar. But no, seriously, Rome serves its purpose of bringing back what once was, bringing it to a whole new level by touching up its compatibility and sprucing up its at the time award-winning but now kind of dated graphics, fixing quirky control decisions and just streamlining the entire experience a bit better for modern day Total War fans. I do understand where the other side is coming from though, as yes, I would have loved to see co-op campaigns added in or a few new factions, so Feral Entertainment tried to cut down the middle, offering the remake wanting Republicans, remake gang, redesigned controls, camera, UI, but for nostalgic Imperials, they didn't change the factions, units, or game's overall mechanics. In historical terms, Rome is still standing, it's just being run a little differently. Just maybe with a deceased Caesar. So we ended up with a game that looks remade but isn't really new at all, in an attempt to toe the line and keep both camps of the Total War fanbase happy. This is where marketing may have let CA down. The fancy new graphics and UI makes the game look like it has been completely remade, but in fact only just remastered. It's still old Rome, just prettier. The problem with this design philosophy of appealing to everybody is if not done right it can push both crowds away, which is a big part of why I'm assuming there has been so much backlash to this otherwise serviceable remaster of a beloved classic strategy title. Maybe some of the blame does lie with the marketing team at Creative Assembly though, as they spent way too long making videos with some dude running around the southern coast of the UK in an effort to be like Caesar and invade the British Isles in stupid Roman cooking videos rather than actually laying out in full what the remaster was, what it did differently and what it kept the same. This could have helped keep fans reeled in. It's a travesty that the fans are so polarised over the game, honestly it is. Feral have done an amazing job for the most part with the classic remastering of the soundtrack, like getting hit with a blast of nostalgia every time I load the game up. So, explaining what the game did differently and what it improved, they left almost exclusively to the influencers and relied almost exclusively on influencer marketing, which is not a good idea as it doesn't give a full overview of the features. For example, top 10 lists aren't going to cover all the little tweaks and design changes that we should be hearing from the marketing team. But regardless, let's talk about some of the better things. So Remastered has beautiful graphics, the battles run smoothly with no stuttering, at least on my rig. I can't say for certain how it will run on everybody's computers, but the requirements aren't anything too ridiculous. Most of the campaign improvements are useful and sensible, being quite essential in making the experience a bit more tolerable than in the original. They reworked the AI a little bit, making the AI have a bit more of a brain. They can be more aggressive or will actually run away from battle if led by an incompetent commander. At first they will be all up for a fight, but then due to the way the morale works in Rome, they will soon scarper if you charge towards them, and then all of a sudden they aren't feeling like Billy Big Balls anymore. The character information has been expanded well, and also made much easier to locate in the remaster, which is a godsend as I never really paid that much attention to it in the base game. I do see the error of my ways though, trust me. The new system makes it much easier to assess who the best general would be for governor and who the most combat proficient one would be to lead an army. One great thing is that the interface is scalable, so if you think it's too big for your screen, use the slider in the options to crank that shit down a notch or two. It is still Rome, so a lot of the original mechanics are still there. They fixed the squalor problems that the base game had. The squalor would increase as your population increased, and if your squalor got too high they would revolt, causing a big headache if your troops are halfway around the world fighting the Egyptians or the Rus. They include both DLCs in the launcher, and the DLCs have been rebalanced a little bit too. General skill seems to be a lot more prevalent now, of it appearing to make a difference, and the game appears to actually calculate a general's command and leadership with the troops in his command calculating the balance of power in battles. Auto-resolve seems to be much better now. Generals can die in auto-resolve, though it is rare. In the base game they were guaranteed to survive auto-resolve. Creative Assembly have actually given us proper, full mod support with Steam integration, so that's amazing. Honestly, the improved camera controls are so welcomed by myself. I frequently in Rome Classic got into fights where I was at the bottom of a hill, mountain or slope and I couldn't tilt the camera up to see what my enemies were doing, leaving me to blindly charge into missile fire in an attempt to see what was what. Now you can tilt the camera, it's a good QOL improvement. You have the ability at the press of a button to auto-merge units too, which is so refreshing. That was one thing I hated having to do post-battle in the original. Dragging about half of your army's unit cards around to merge them into full-size units again was a pain. Now to talk about some of the downsides of the remaster. Now, as objective as I'm trying to be with this, I can't think of much bad about Rome Remastered. Many people complaining about the most minuscule shit in the reviews, and sadly I don't agree with much of it at all. There were people complaining as to how they removed the pop-ups. Personally, I think that was a good call as it interfered with me trying to make a quick decision. I can see why people are annoyed at the AI. It seems to have had a slight rework from the base game, which is good honestly, as the AI in the base game were dumb. Sometimes the AI in the remaster feels a little OP or the complete opposite, which I do completely understand as a complaint. Pathfinding is very hit and miss. Sometimes it's fine. Others, the AI freaks out and runs into a wall. It's very bizarre. The last thing to complain about is the game's size. The original Rome was less than 4GB, remaster's like 10 times that, and many people don't understand why. Yes, there's new graphics that do look very fancy, but that can't be all the space surely. It's not the AI, they haven't had that much of a change. I doubt the merchants or the new UI, if anything, is more minimalist in the original, so where the hell does that 36GB of data come from? I'm aware they've packed in the DLC, but still, 36GB of data, really? It's one thing I criticise many game companies for: learn to compress your files a bit better, please. So I do understand many people's complaints, but most of that seems to be from the fact this isn't Rome from 2004. The people themselves are older, and don't feel that sense of wonder like they did with the original Rome. 2004 was a simpler time, man. Facebook had just been invented, a lot of Eastern European nations were admitted to NATO, there was lots of tension in the Middle East, Portugal had hosted the 2004 UEFA Euro tournament, NASA launched their own manned messenger spacecraft to study Mercury, the 2004 Olympics were in Greece, the Nintendo DS was released in November 2004, and at the time the tallest skyscraper opened its doors to the public. To think I'm only 22, that makes me feel ancient. The point of all that is a lot has changed since 2004, and the innocent sense of wonder and amazement we felt back then is long gone. Rome was a piece of history, but it deserved a remaster to bring it into the modern day. The lack of a co-op campaign mode sucks, but this was made on the original engine that Rome was made on, so I understand. Back then I can't imagine that co-op campaigns were anything more than a dream in the mind of someone at Creative Assembly. I'd take a far less convenient hot seat style co-op campaign that requires the two of you to be in the same room. I'll take that at the very least. Overall though, this remaster does what it set out to do, making Rome playable again. It fixes a lot, but not all of the issues plaguing the 2004 release. It still needs a little bit of work, but it's a solid entry into the Total War timeline. I would say, if you own Rome on Steam, get the remaster while the deal is applicable, as it's much cheaper than the asking price normally. I normally would recommend waiting on patches, but given the time limit on the deal and Creative Assembly's track record of patching Rome Classic, I wouldn't hold my breath. This remaster was done by Feral Interactive, however, and they may be a little more willing to fix problems. The game is definitely solid, a definite improvement upon the 2004 original, but not quite what some fans had expected. That's the problem with overhype. People had asked for a remaster for many years, now it's here. Their wild imaginations of what a remaster would look like have been shattered. They're angry. It's a passable recreation, however it should be viewed as such. Just passable. It's a good game, but it's Rome. It's Rome from 2004, it just looks cleaner, that's it. Thank you to all of you who listened to me rant about this piece of history. If you want more from me, please subscribe and like this video. It gives me the motivation to make more and more frequent content for you guys. If you guys would like a Let's Play of Rome or to see me attempt a one-off challenge video in Rome, comment yes and then the type of challenge you'd like to see me cover, or alternatively no. I'd like it if you could include a reason why, as I can better gauge my audience reaction to such videos in the future, but I'm fine with a simple yes or no. Let's face it, most of the people will just comment no and not give me a reason why anyway. I've just bought a new microphone and started a new job. I'll work out a schedule when I get a moment, but in the meantime, thank you guys. But for now, I love you all. Normal videos will resume shortly. Thank you for your patience. Until next time.